I'm interested in current affairs and the news, and I follow what's going on. I try to follow what's going on in the world, although the world is moving very fast. And, there's a lot of great stories out there, and it's easy to be deluded into chasing a story because the news grips you sometimes, and there's always good stuff. For example, right now, obviously, I'm very interested in the revelations about the national security state that we have, a global security state the United States has created. It'd be good to do a good project around that. It's also very difficult because there's a lot of things we don't know. At the same time, there are certain dangers in it. But that's something, for example, that would excite my interests. But when you ask what inspires me at my age, I would say to you, I can't do all the stories that I would like to do, nor do I have to do it. I think what matters to me at my age is to develop more knowledge about myself. And out of that consciousness, that heightened consciousness, comes my inspiration. When you know that something is good for you, that you're learning from it, when you sense that you've advanced to a higher level of consciousness, you know it. Maybe not right away, but you feel it. This last 5 years, I worked on Untold History of the United States, which is frankly a documentary and is not a feature film like I normally do, but as a documentary, it was a 12-hour television story of the United States from the time I was born until now, and how it changed from a country that I thought I recognized to the country that it's become. In telling that story, I, of course, learned a lot about history. And I learned a lot about myself and about the time I lived through. And I started to think about myself in the 1970s and 80s and 90s and 2000, what I was doing as a young man, as an older man, and where I was and how I misunderstood certain things in the world. So that's very inspiring to feel that you have learned something from the circumstances of your life, that you've progressed to another understanding. Not necessarily a right one, but I do think it's right. I was raised very conservatively in New York City in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and I evolved over 70s, 80s, 90s into another man. And even today, from 2008 when I started the project till now, I've evolved even more progressively. And I feel the difference. So my point is that knowing yourself, or knowing where you come from and where you're going to, is perhaps the most enlightening thing that's ever happened. And I think every artist, whether it's a painter or a musician, has some way of finding himself in the material, losing himself in the stars, so to speak.